With us now, Buck Sexton, co-host, the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, former CIA officer. Buck, I want to start at the beginning because I think it's important for viewers to understand why Epstein for so long has occupied so much headspace in MAGA world. Why is this such an important story?
Well, I think he's occupied a lot of headspace in general in the news media because he was a heinous molester of children and a human trafficker who was close friends with some of the richest and most powerful people in the world and got away with what he was doing for many years, really decades, even though law enforcement became aware of this very early on, I should say, over a decade ago, and did effectively nothing about it. And then there were all of these quite frankly, concerning and bizarre statements and decisions made by law enforcement over the course of many investigations, over the course of many years. And people had a lot of questions about how such a thing could happen. And, of course, there were conspiracies. So, I mean, we're condensing 20-some-odd years here.
I think that's the point. But what I was getting at was that this idea that the deep state, that the FBI, the CIA was protecting Jeffrey Epstein because he was an asset, because he had all this dirt and compromise on all these important and powerful people, that took hold, I think. And I think there was, as you point out, a lot of things that really didn't make sense about the case. So do you buy that this is over? Can I give you some
of those just so we're not... Well, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely not over. And we should talk about the management of the rollout, if you will, and the memo from the DOJ. We'll get to that in a second. But just a few things here. He engaged in the kind of criminal behavior. I'm talking about the first case, which was back in the early 2000s. Palm Beach County didn't even prosecute him for it. It had to go. It went federal. He engaged in the kind of behavior that most people would go to prison for many, many years, perhaps decades, be a registered sex offender, and their life would be, let's say, never the same afterwards, even when they got out of prison. And yet he continued to hobnob with, like I said, the richest, most powerful people in the world. He got a plea deal, which no federal prosecutor's ever heard of before, in the first case, again, not the 2019 case, where it said that future unnamed co-conspirators were also covered in the plea deal. That's insane. There's no reason for that to have been given to him. And as we know, the U.S. attorney at the time said that he, quote, belongs to intelligence and that he was to be left alone. For a U.S. attorney who later on was a cabinet official in the Trump administration, that's a bizarre statement to make about a criminal sex offender. So you look at all of that together and the fact that he had the access that he did to people we know. I mean, the roster of people who at least spent time with him is the world's rich and powerful. And law enforcement didn't figure this out, didn't do anything for many, many years. That's where all this comes from in terms of all the interest. And then just to get to... Yeah, go ahead.
How are we at this point, though, where Pam Bondi is sitting next to the President of the United States, who is promised to get to the bottom of this and goes, oh, never mind, nothing to see, everything was done correctly in the past, we're done. How does this happen?
Well, look, I don't think she's saying everything was done correctly in the past, obviously. I think she's saying, I mean, and, I'm just surmising that she understands that. What she is saying is that they've done an exhaustive review of all the materials they have, and there's no additional individuals to be charged. Let me break this down into two pieces. There's the perception of the public part of this, which is you don't drop this memo. I think it was on Sunday evening, which is just like, yep, it was a nothing to see here memo. It was a bad memo, okay? It was not a smart move for the DOJ to put that out the way that they did. They should have had a press conference. They should have been open to live questions. They should have presented, new information or all the information that they could have presented. They should have said, we have a website where the stuff that we can show you. Because they messed up. I think it's quite obvious that this thing was handled poorly. I mean, the same way that when they had the influencers show up with the binders and the binders had effectively nothing in them, it was a screw up. Now, so that's the perception management side. Now we get to the unanswered questions piece of this. And people seem to think that we've figured out where this guy's hundreds of millions of dollars came from. But I've not seen any sound analysis of that. Yeah, we haven't. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
And we haven't figured out why people are giving him hundreds of millions of dollars. We haven't figured out what's on the videotapes, if there was other people on the videotapes or not.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.